Hello, everybody. We are live on Instagram. It has been a while since the American College of Norway has been live on Instagram, and we wanted to have a live session and kind of just take your questions about what it's like studying at ACN. I see a lot of people are joining in right now, and just wanted to say welcome. And before we start this Instagram live, we have one of our study abroad students, Sarah Scott, who is from Pace University. She's going to be joining our Instagram live. She spent the past 3 months pretty much at ACN studying abroad before the whole pandemic, and she unfortunately had to go home, but she did have an amazing time at ACN, and she's going to be on live to tell you all about it. We got a Q&A set up, and before she comes into this chat, obviously you can see I'm not at ACN, I am at home, and we are doing our part to stop the spread of COVID-19. And so we've been, socially distancing, working at home, doing all the things we can to get back to our new normal, hopefully sooner than later. But I'm at home, I've been working at home, so I miss the students dearly. And they just finished their finals and their semester's done, but we cannot wait to be reunited with them in the near future. We worked on a really nice little farewell video for them, and they saw that today, so that was really fun to send them this video. But we miss the students dearly. We are excited for our new batch of students that are going to come in the fall, and we hope everyone's going to have a good summer. But before we get this Instagram live started, I wanted to just briefly introduce who I am, because we have had a lot of new followers on our account in the past month or 2 months. There's been a decent amount of new followers, so you might not be familiar with who we are so I wanted to give you a little introduction about myself and the role I play at ACN. So my name is Nick Favero, and I am the Marketing and Activities Coordinator at the American College of Norway. And what that means is I work with all of our marketing, so I run all our social media channels, do a lot of the advertisements you might see in newspapers, digital, online. Additionally, I work with the students to create a fun and exciting campus. So a lot of the events you'll see, like Spring Formal, Haunted House, Super Bowl, a lot of these American traditions we bring to campus. I am from the United States myself. I'm originally from Wisconsin, and I've been in Norway now for 5 years. But that's my brief introduction. But I'm going to bring Sarah in. But an important thing to note, for the Americans that are planning to come to Norway, I'm going to be one of your first contact points after you've been accepted, because I'm going to send you detailed arrival information. You're going to get information on how to get from the airport onto the bus, down to ACN, and then I'm going to meet you and take you to the grocery store, help you figure out some things you need to buy because it's important to get you food. And then, I'm just going to help you with giving you suggestions of things to do, places to visit. We don't have classes on Friday, so often I'll arrange trips where we'll go to Oslo for the day and show you around. So I love working with the students, love creating a fun campus life. For me, college was such a fun time, so I love bringing that stuff back and doing it with all of you. So I am going to bring Sarah into our Instagram live now, and it has been so cool to see so many of you on here. Hi, Emma. We're excited to welcome you to the ACN in the fall. And let me find this. We've never done this before where we've invited someone in doing like a split screen thing, so bear with me. Okay, let's see. Sarah requested. Let's click it. Go live with Sarah. We're waiting for Sarah's connection.
Hello.
There we go. Hi, Sarah.
Hello. Hi, I'm Sarah Scott. I'm originally from Pace University, but I studied abroad at the American College of Norway this past semester, and I had a great time, and I'm here to answer all of your questions. Send anything in the chat, and I will do my best to answer.
Perfect. Thank you for doing this with us, Sarah. It's been so fun to think of new and inventive ways to get some fun content out there because we're
Mm-hmm.
all doing the part, we're at home. And when I reached out to Sarah saying if she wanted to do this, she was all for it. And
Good.
we're going to do an Instagram Live together. So I'm in Norway right now, obviously. Sarah is in Boston. And Sarah, before we get this started and I start giving you some questions,
Mm-hmm.
can you give our audience a brief overview of who you are, where you study, where you're from, what you're studying, and yeah, all that jazz.
Yeah, so as I said, I go to Pace University in New York City. I study communications with a minor in French. And I studied abroad at ACN this past semester in Norway. I had an amazing time. It was really fun. And yeah, that's basically about my education life. Yeah, I'm originally from Massachusetts, right outside of Boston. So hello to all my East Coast people. Yeah, that's me.
Perfect. And I mentioned this previously, but Sarah did have to leave
Yeah.
Norway because of the pandemic, but she got home safely and she's able to continue her classes. She did everything online. And she did stay at ACN though for 3 months, so she did have a pretty long study abroad experience. And
I felt like I did a lot in those 3 months. I felt like
you did.
I did everything and more.
You did so much. And I was writing a lot of emails to the students that had to leave. And I remember writing to Sarah and I said, I know this is a really difficult time and you're sad and you have to go home. However, you can always come back because you have a family here.
Yeah.
Plus, you did all these things. So I listed, like, don't forget that you went here, 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 here. So you did all. So I guess we'll start with the Q&A, but I just wanted to remind all of you, if you have any questions, type them below. If you're Norwegian and you have questions, if you're American, you have questions, if you're from anywhere else and you have questions, type them below. We will answer them. And let's get it started.
Let's get it started.
So the first question I have for you, Sarah, is why did you decide to study abroad? And when you decided to study abroad, why did you choose the American College of Norway?
Okay, so I always knew I wanted to study abroad. Somehow that was like one of the big things when looking for a college. And when I saw Pace had like a good study abroad programs, I just wanted to go there. I knew I wanted to study abroad. And then when I was looking for places to go, I knew I wanted to go somewhere that was completely different than New York City. So the American College of Norway seemed like a perfect fit because it wasn't in Oslo or anything. It wasn't in a city. And I got to have that tight-knit bond, small town vibe, nature-y type of study abroad experience, which is obviously completely different than the hustle and bustle of New York City. So that's why I chose ACN. That's why I decided to apply, and I'm really glad I did it.
Good. Perfect. Thank you, Sarah. And I guess also one thing to note is ACN is a partner school of Pace University. So that means Norwegian students who get into our program and successfully complete, if they apply to PACE, they'll get accepted. And PACE students can study abroad at ACN. So that's a really cool thing because although Sarah's back in the U.S. now and she'll be back at Pace University in the fall, we have some American students that are going to be going to some of ACN's partner schools, and we have 8 partner schools. So this kind of works really well for all these students is because I know one of Sarah's really good Norwegian friends she became friends with, Malin, if you're watching. Hi, Malin. Malin's going to be going to Westchester University, which is in Pennsylvania. No, Philadelphia? Philadelphia's in Pennsylvania, yes. Ugh. So she's going to be going there. Of course, that's on the East Coast, and that is super close to New York City. So have you guys talked about meeting up sometime in the near future? Or?
We'll definitely be meeting up once we go back in the fall. Yeah.
So that's kind of one of the cool perks because it's such a small campus that you really get to meet people from all over Norway. And plus you get to meet Americans from all over because Sarah became friends with, her roommate was from another partner school, University of North Dakota. And you're probably going to visit Allie at some point or she's going to come to NYC.
I'm gonna drag her to the East Coast. Get her
And
over here.
I just wanted to put this out too, just so you know, people. You don't have to come from a partner school to study abroad. You can come from any school in the U.S. and study abroad at ACN. But we do have these partner schools that we work with. But I guess before the next question, maybe you could talk about how the small campus setting and this connection with Norwegians and the Norwegians going to the States and the Americans and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, could you maybe kind of explain the significance of that and what you liked about that?
Yeah, definitely. I felt like since it was such a small community, such a small campus, I was able to make friends with pretty much everybody. Everyone was sort of friends in a tight-knit community, which was really valuable because you got to have close relationships with people that you can go back to and visit later in life from all over. And now I feel like since I've made friends with the Norwegian students, I have a home there. I've built myself a community and a home like in Norway. Like I think of Moss, Norway as like, oh, that's somewhere I can go back to and have somewhere to stay or have people to be with. And likewise with the Americans, we still keep in touch today. And yeah, we're all talking in the group chat constantly. So yeah, it really broadens your worldview to meet people from all different kinds of places, and ACN attracts really good people. So it was nice to meet everybody.
That's super good to hear. And
Yeah.
that's one thing I love is that these connections continue, because I said this to the students previously that were leaving. I know this is like a really sad time and you have to go back to the States, but think about all the connections you made, and now you have a home here in Norway where if you come back, clearly you can visit ACN, and also you can visit your American friends wherever they're studying, the Norwegians wherever they're studying. So I think it's like, unfortunately you had to go home, but this only will continue, right?
Definitely.
We did have a question that came in from, let me see, Sam, and Sam wanted to know, what was your favorite thing about Norwegian culture, Sarah?
Ooh, let me think. So obviously it was kind of a big culture shock going to Norway. In America, everyone's very like, hello, hello. Like you say hi to people on the streets. We're loud, we're bold out there. Norwegians are much more reserved on the streets. If you say hello to someone, they'll think you know them or something. So that was a little something to get used to, I guess, is that the Norwegians are more reserved. Norwegian culture, I guess their sense of nationalism was really cool to see. Like everyone was really, really proud of their country and proud of where they came from. I got to learn about everyone's hometowns and municipalities and all of these sorts of things. And they're really into like the royal family and everything. So yeah, just their sense of nationalism was one of my favorite things about Norwegian culture, because everyone was so gung-ho about loving Norway, and that made me want to love Norway too.
Good answer. That's a really good answer, Sarah. I like that.
Yeah.
Really good answer. Okay, so the next question I have for you, Sarah, is how did ACN help enrich your study abroad experience?
Ooh, so obviously Nick, the man above me, or on my screen he's above, he was there from minute one. Before I even got to the school, he was, as he said, telling me where to go in the airport, answering any questions, handling anything and everything about what we need to do. He took us to the grocery store, and yeah, just all of the activities that he planned right away to help us get acclimated into the community was really, really helpful. So yeah, just Nick and all the staff at ACN did a really good job of creating a community for the students. And also all of the students there wanted to travel and wanted to make friends. So it was really easy to plan a trip with someone and just get everyone in on it. For example, like we went to Tromso and we were like, hey, anyone who wants to come can come. And a lot of people came. So that was really cool to see just everyone wanting to travel and everyone on the same page, of wanting to make friends, wanting to make connections, and wanting to make the most of like my study abroad experience or their experience at ACN, whatever it may be.
Well, thank you for the answer, Sarah. I have a question kind of to go off of that, seeing you mentioned it. You mentioned traveling. So
yeah,
could you mention the places that you did go while you were at ACN?
Okay. So I traveled all over Norway. We went to Tromso and we had a day in Oslo. Fredrikstad was one of my favorite places, and I went to Holden, which has the most humane prison in the world, so that was pretty cool. Yeah, so I went all over Norway, and then I went to Gothenburg, Sweden. That was a really fun trip. My brightness went down. And then where else did I go? I went to Iceland. I went to Poland. I visited my friend in Poland. And yeah, I think Iceland, Poland, Sweden. That's where I went.
See, this is why when I wrote the emails saying I was like, but Sarah, don't worry, because you went to Poland, Sweden, Iceland, you went to many places in Norway. Like, you went to many places in 3 months, and one of the coolest things is now if you come back, no, not if, when you come back to Norway, you know people from all over the country, and you kind of have a sense of like, you know how to navigate it. You know how to get on the trains, how to do all these things. So I take it you'll be back to Norway when we can start traveling again?
I hope so. If I have the funds, then I will do it.
Okay. One fun question, I guess. Once we can travel again, and let's say you come to Norway as your first country to visit, what would be the very first thing you would do coming back to Norway?
Ooh. The very first thing I do, probably something food related. If I went to Moss, then I'd get Baba Sushi. That was like the spot that everyone went to, and it was delicious. I'm vegan, and they had vegan sushi. Everywhere had vegan things, so that's not a problem if you have any dietary restrictions. That was really easy for me to navigate personally. So Baba Sushi, that would be the first thing I would do if I went back to Moss.
I love it. Okay, I love it because it's not like go to the Royal Palace or the Oslo Opera. She said go to her favorite sushi spot, which is
I know. I've seen the palace. I've been to the opera thousands of times. Baba Sushi, been there thousands of times, but it never gets old.
See, that just shows you the sense of community, and she would pick a sushi place in her study abroad town to be the first thing to do.
Yeah,
cool.
It's very nostalgic for me.
And that's kind of always the students' spot, like every single year. And we don't even like, I mean, I guess we tell them about it, but we don't like take them down there or show them it. They just kind of find it, and like it just spreads like wildfire. Everyone's like, Baba Sushi.
Baba Sushi. Shout out Baba Sushi.
Okay, so I have I have two questions that came in from our viewers, and I'll take one of them now, and then we'll go to one of the other questions I have. And the question was, what should us Norwegians know / be prepared for when we go to study in the United States? So what should they be prepared for, Sarah? Or what should they know?
Prepared for? To get involved. They always say that's the number one thing. Very cliche answer, but it's true. Everyone likes to get involved. It's cool to get involved, or at least I think it's cool to get involved. Obviously, I'm on an Instagram Live right now, but it really makes your college experience to get involved, to make friends and join clubs and all of these things. Yeah, get ready for everyone to be really outgoing compared to Norwegians. Very loud and out there. Everyone, has their own personality, and American flair to them. Yeah. Me and Nick are two
Guilty as
perfect
charged.
examples of
We are perfect
loud
examples. We
Americans.
was a communication major and I was a communication major,
Yeah.
so. Well, good answer. Getting involved is super important, and that's something we practice from the get-go at ACN. And
Yeah, definitely.
going to the U.S., when you apply for jobs and various things, the network you create via getting involved is an amazing opportunity. I mean, you can meet some really great people that you might not have met if you didn't join a club, and it can open up internship opportunities. And in addition to just a CV booster and whatnot, it enriches your time because you get to kind of be in charge of creating some fun stuff on campus. And I don't know, for me, it definitely would not have been the same experience in college if I didn't get involved. I highly recommend getting involved. I think it is the best thing you can do for yourself.
Yeah. Even like getting involved in outside your school in New York City, like I'm very involved in like the New York City community, I feel like, even outside of PACE. So I'm just broadening my horizons in every way possible.
Well, that's actually funny you mentioned that, because I was going to give you another question, but I do have a question that came in from Amanda. Hi, Amanda. Amanda is going to be studying with us at ACN this fall. And Amanda said, can you tell Amanda said, can you tell us more about Pace University? So Sarah goes to Pace in New York City, and tell our audience more about your uni.
Yeah, so Pace University has two campuses, the New York City campus and the Westchester campus. The Westchester campus is sort of more like college town-like, and then the New York City campus is obviously, there's buildings spread out all over the city, and you really get to live in New York City rather than it feeling like you're stuck within the college's bounds. So, Pace University is great. We have a ton of majors. There's a really wide range of students. I'm a communications major. I make friends with a lot of like the musical theater majors. That's a really big one. The musical theater program is like really, really good. There's someone on like the High School Musical show right now, the spinoff. There's everyone there is like really successful. We focus a lot on internships and getting people into the workforce early. So our career services office, as well as our study abroad office, works really hard to get students to create their careers early on. I had an internship last semester, which Pace University helped me get. That's a little bit about Pace University. It's a really great community of students. It's a very big school, but you can find all sorts of people there and all sorts of opportunities.
Good, thank you, Sarah.
Thank you.
One thing I'm going to note, and I want all the Norwegians watching to know, is that when you come to ACN, like I said, you're guaranteed admission to our partner schools if you apply and you successfully complete our program. But one added benefit of coming through ACN is that you'll get contact with all of these schools. So often they will send representatives from Pace University or University of North Dakota or Springfield College to ACN. So they'll spend a day or 2 days, maybe sometimes 3 days even on campus, and they'll have information sessions about what it's like. You can apply to the school with them. You can apply for scholarships with them. So you get great information about these schools prior to going. So that's one awesome benefit of ACN. And another cool thing is when our American students come, they come from these schools. So we had students last semester from University of North Dakota, which is a partner school, Pace University, and Springfield College. So our Norwegian students, of course, could easily talk to Sarah or our other students about what it's really like, because, of course, we work at the school and we're going to speak highly of everything, and our students will too, but they'll also fill them in more on like the social situation and internship opportunities, because of course Sarah goes there and she did participate in internships, so she can give you, the real deal of what it's like. So that's one of the added benefits for the Norwegians, is the contact you'll make and the network you'll build before going. So for you Norwegians, great opportunities via ACN.
Hmm.
I don't know. Did many of the students talk to you, Sarah, about like what it's really like in the States and
Oh
all that stuff?
yeah, that was like, especially the beginning of the year, that was like the question, like, okay, what's it really like? And I'm like, it really is fun. But yeah, they have every Norwegian always has specific questions, and I'm always really happy to answer because I love talking about myself and my life. So yeah, it that we spill the tea. We spill the real tea when we're outside of class. Yeah.
All right. So another question on my list is, what have been some of the highlights of your time at ACN?
Hmm. Oh, so everything. But what comes to mind is like just being in the apartments and like with my friends. Like that's what I think of as like the best times. Is just like hanging out with my roommate Allie and like inviting people over for a family dinner. Like that was like my favorite thing to do. I just loved like hanging out with everybody and talking. It sounds simple compared to all the traveling and extravagant things and even like the school projects or whatever, or events, but I love to just host an event. Everyone, has dinner and we talk and bond and it's super fun. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to ask you kind of two questions about
Mhm.
previous things that you mentioned because some students might not be thinking about this, but the exchange rate is really
Oh
in
yeah.
favor for Americans. It is a lot cheaper for Americans now to study abroad in Norway than previous times. And I guess Sarah can speak to this a little bit because she does come from New York City and it's expensive. So I
Yeah.
was just curious, what was your perception of the cost of things in Norway?
I know everyone was telling me how expensive it was going to be, but I didn't really think it was that expensive. Granted, like I'm from New York City. New York City's really expensive, so maybe it just didn't seem that bad because of where I'm from. But and I only bought groceries, really. I didn't really like buy clothes or anything, so 'cause I didn't have room with my luggage. But I didn't find Norway to be too different from the States, actually. Yeah, my grocery bill was always as expected, and
Okay.
yeah, that was that was my personal experience. But yeah, everyone was telling me like it's gonna be so expensive, but it really
And that's the thing is everyone always
wasn't.
says it's so expensive, and that's why Norway tends to be like on the like not everyone's top list of studying abroad because they
Hmm.
think it's going to be so expensive, but it actually isn't that bad these days.
Yeah.
And one thing that Sarah pointed out is you'll do a lot of family dinners with your roommates, and you'll chip in on this, and then you make a
Hmm.
dinner together. And a really nice thing about studying abroad in Europe in general is student discounts. There's student discounts for
Yeah.
flights, student discounts for hostels, student discounts for the train. Like, what was your experience with student discounts, Sarah?
Everywhere I went. I mean, that's what I do in the city as well. Like, hi, do you have a student discount? Hi, like show them that Baba Sushi has a student discount. Remember, bring your ID. um, but yeah, just flash it everywhere. And yeah, the train especially, it saves you like a lot of money. It saves you like $7 or something like that to just pick the student option because you're a student. Take advantage of it. Also, compared to the rent in New York City as well, like when you think about the cost of everything, the rent and tuition at ACN compared to what I have in New York City at Pace, like is so much lower. So even if I did find things like groceries and stuff to be more expensive, it would kind of even out.
And I guess bouncing off of that too, let me just say this again. We do have some new people joining us. So if you do have any questions for Sarah, for myself, write them below and we'll do our best to answer them. But Sarah, you said that you're vegan.
Yeah.
And how was it getting groceries and doing your vegan routine in a different country?
Um, I didn't find it to be too difficult. I mean, I'm someone who loves the grocery store. I love, I think it's fun to like look at all of the ingredients and like find the things that don't like say vegan in big letters on the packaging, but they are vegan like secretly. So yeah, I just went to the grocery store a few times, found what I liked, tried everything, and yeah, it was pretty easy. Norway is a pretty vegan forward country, so that was good for me. And they had a lot of products. There's a lot of like, like vegan cheese, vegan hot dogs, stuff like that, that I could eat. But also I always have my staples like, fruits, vegetables, stuff like that. Yeah, I found it very easy to navigate the grocery stores. A lot of stuff is in English as well. So that was nice to see, very comforting. But if it wasn't, I just memorized like the allergens. Yeah, so if you have any allergens, just even like, gluten-free, anything related to food, you can just memorize like your allergens in Norwegian, like milk, egg, egg's the same. Bad example, but I just memorized my allergens. And as far as like restaurants go, like every menu at every restaurant had like the allergens posted, so that was really helpful. And yeah, I didn't really have too much of a problem with it.
Good to know, because people always ask me. I myself, I eat everything. I'm not vegetarian, I'm vegan, I eat everything. So for me, like, I don't have too much experience, searching for things that are vegan, but I learned so much from Sarah this past semester. I learned that Oreos are vegan.
Oh, yes. A vegan staple right there, Oreos.
Fun story about this. So Sarah has a YouTube channel with her best friend, and she's done some YouTube videos about her time at Cien. But I was watching some of the videos, and I watched she did an Oreo mukbang, and the next day I said, Sarah, what were you doing eating Oreos? And she's like, they are vegan. And I was like, what? And I was like, how can you be vegan? So
it's all fake. So
but yeah. You learn something new every day, right? I learned that Oreos are vegan. I learned so much about veganism and all that from Sarah. So thank you for all that.
Always ready to educate about the vegan lifestyle.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you another question, but I guess just so people can kind of connect the dots with all of this, and you mentioned about going to the grocery store, the restaurants, and if you're the sushi spot, could you just mention what it was like getting around in Moss and getting around in general, like going to Oslo? Like, how did you do this? Was it easy to navigate because you didn't have a car as Americans are used to? So how did you get around and do all these things?
Google Maps was a big help, or I use Apple Maps personally, but so yeah, I just kind of it's a walking country. Norwegians love to walk. Everyone was always out walking, like way more than I see like here where I live in my like suburb of Boston. But yeah, so everyone was out walking. I didn't see too many cars, especially in Moss. So I kind of just memorized, like, the spots I like to go to, the train station, the grocery store, et cetera, et cetera. And yeah, it was pretty easy after a week. You just get used to your area and get acclimated to what you're doing. But yeah, it was good to walk everywhere. That was pretty fun. New York City obviously is a walking city as well. So I was pretty used to not using the car, but I could see like definitely like coming from here, like all throughout high school, like I drove a car everywhere I went. So yeah, it's just you walk, and they have really good transportation systems. The train was like really nice. And yeah, it helped me get where I needed to go.
Good. And then I have one last question for you, Sarah, before we wrap this up, and it is, what would you tell students thinking about studying abroad at Cien? Those that are just on the fence about it, those that are thinking, what's the best way to do this? What are some tips for them? What would you say to them if they're thinking about coming here? How can they prepare for their experience?
I mean, obviously I want to say to do it because I loved it. But yeah, I think that if you're thinking about ACN, it's a pretty unique study abroad experience. So if you're attracted to an experience as unique as this, you should just go for it. Um, because like ACN attracts the like-minded people. So you're going to meet people who also wanted to study in Norway, wanted to study in a small town, small community. So that is going to be really nice. Even if you're just thinking about it, I think just go for it because it's a very unique experience. And if you're attracted to that unique experience, then you should just do it, even though it's not the most typical. It's not like this a huge college or anything like that, but the experience you have is going to be so valuable.
Good. Well, Sarah, I don't have any other questions, but I'm so glad to see you and
Yes.
glad to see you doing well. And I cannot wait for the day when we can travel again. And if I'm ever in New York, hopefully our paths will cross and we can maybe have a vegan lunch together somewhere in the city.
Oh, yes.
I'm sure you know the
my favorite
spots.
restaurants. Yeah.
And I can't wait for you to eventually come back to Norway and do some of the things that you're wishing you could do. And I want to say thank you to all the people that watched our Instagram Live. And I wanted to those that sent questions in. And before I sign off, I wanted to just let you know that Sarah, who is below me, Sarah has some great content on her personal page. She has the YouTube channel, like I said, and
Link
she
in
also
bio.
did a takeover. She did a takeover for ACN in the beginning of spring semester, and it is in our IGTV. So if you want to watch that, just go to IGTV, click that, and she has a great takeover and shows you what it's like at ACN. She shows you like what it's like to walk from the dorms, and it's super close. And then she takes you to Tromsø, Norway for a Northern Lights tour and shows you some family dinners with her roomies and dyeing some hair and
Dyeing some hair, yeah.
all the things you do. So I would definitely check that out. And I guess if you do have any questions for myself, you can obviously reach out to us on this account. But if you have any questions for Sarah, are you open to them sending you messages?
Yeah, just send me a DM asking about ACN and I will do my best to answer.
Good. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Sarah, and thank you to everyone that joined us. And we hope to see many of you back in Norway when we can travel again. And I wish you all health and wellness, and I hope you're all doing your part to stop the spread of COVID-19. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thanks for watching.